All right, guys, welcome to chapter 4. We're going to talk about time management, everybody's favorite. We really need to pay attention to where our time is going when you're planning, when you're in college and you're planning. It really should be like your second job. Obviously, if you're working right now, that's your main priority, again, to pay bills and whatnot. But you should be making almost as much time for school and dedication and prioritizing. It really should come first, um, after things like working. Obviously, you have kids. But other than that, it should be in that, I guess, the top three really on your planner. So this is one of my favorite memes, reclaiming my time. Time management, it feels like we have no time, and a lot of time it's just our bad time management skills. It's just not us not prioritizing and holding on to the things that we need to, and maybe letting go of things we spend our time on that we don't need to spend our time on. So this all matches your values and goals. We talked about in chapter 3 your core values and how you're going to set up your goals. The last piece of the SMART format is that, time frame, right? And that goes into our time management. What do you need to do today to achieve your goal? Did your choices today support your goals? We're not always going to say yes to that, and that's okay. Give yourself some grace. But you do need to be taking into that time management. So if your goal is to pass your courses, look at today. Did you spend any time studying? Did you spend any time working on homework? Did you log into Blackboard at all? Did you attend your lecture if you have a virtual lecture in your course? All of that plays into your time management. If you didn't, why? Where did your time go that day? So it really is about establishing priorities. I really tell students, especially with online courses, to, even in a course like ours, which is asynchronous, meaning we don't have regular meetings, put it on your calendar like you have a regular meeting time. Put 2 or 3 days on your calendar that you're going to log in and you're going to do your reading. You're going to listen to the recordings. You're going to start working on assignments, working on your discussion post, seeing what's coming up next. Put some scheduled time for that. Don't leave it to, I'll get to it when I get to it, because a lot of times it falls off our radar. Um, Online courses in general before COVID always had the highest rates of students not finishing, and it really is because it's so easy to forget you're even in the course. There's nothing on campus that's reminding you. You have to remember to check your email to see any notifications from your professor, and it's just so easy to slip away from you. So really put it on your schedule, um, so that you're logging in and you see it on your calendar. And yes, you should be using a calendar, whether it's electronic or a planner. Make sure that you have that balance. So it's okay to put in that social life, but put in your work and school first and build your social life around that. Um, right now, I guess there's less of a social life, but I'm sure you're still doing some things. And that's okay, whether it's virtual happy hours and brunches, whether you're going over to a family member's house. Um, all those can be on there, but make sure that you're not doing that so much that you're not able to get to your schoolwork. And that goes back to, what is the most important thing that you need to do right now? What is the best way to juggle your priorities so you can meet all your goals? And really writing it out on a planner can give you kind of that visual of how much time that you're spending and what can kind of be cut. Creating a planner or calendar system is, it's just so necessary. Students really kind of don't realize that when they first get into college. And I think that's some of the biggest feedback I get in this class at the end of the semester. Either using a planner or calendar really helped me, or I definitely need to start using the planner or calendar. You can do electronic, you can do it monthly, weekly. You really have to find out the system that works for you. I, for years, tried a planner, and what I found is I was excellent at sitting down and writing everything in there that I needed to. I'd even get fun and color code because I'm a nerd like that. And then that planner would sit on my desk, and I would never remember to take it to work or to school or wherever it was that I actually needed to look at it. I never could physically remember to grab it. So I'm a big fan of Google Calendar. I like the way that it layers. I like the way that it knocks me over the head to remind me of stuff. Between notifications, it can email me. I really need that thing that's going to jump out because I'm really good at long-term planning, and then sometimes I get lost in my day-to-day and forget that I have a meeting or I have something due. As an ACC student, you get access to a Google Calendar, which you can put on your phone if you're not used to it. I'm going to show you mine just for those of you that have maybe not used it. So you're about to see all my business. This is what mine looks like. And here's the thing that I like about Google Calendars. I have multiple calendars. So I have one that is specific just for my EDUC courses that tells me your things that are due, to remember certain key dates that I need to remember as a faculty member. I have my work one that tells me when I have things on my calendar, things that I need to attend, and I can take off my EDUC if I just need to look at my work. I can put both. And then finally, I have my personal calendar. So you can see doctor's appointments. I've got to take my car in here, people's birthdays, and I can look at all of them when I want a big picture and see what I have coming up. Or I can look at one or the other, and it's all linked together for me. So I like that. I like the color coding. I like that I can go in and that there's notifications that will email me or buzz my phone. But I definitely like that I can look at individual calendars. That for me helps me with my anxiety and being able to break it down when I just need to look at one thing that I'm focusing on. That is my preferred method. Pick your preferred method for sure. Just make sure it's one that you're going to remember to check and go back and use. And again, if you don't remember, our Blackboard course calendar connects. You can connect it to your iCalendar or a Google Calendar. And there's instructions in the Start Here PowerPoint, the course orientation PowerPoint that I made. And then all of the assignments that I've already put in there for you. And if you have other classes that put in due dates and assignments, will automatically link to your personal calendar. You don't even have to go in and manually put them in. All right, so things that go into your calendar. This one is big. Designated study time, 2 to 3 hours per class. The biggest rule of thumb is however many credit hours you need to multiply by 3 of time spent outside of that class. So if you're taking 12 credit hours, 4 courses, you need about 36 hours a week planned to study, do assignments. My rule of thumb for that is start with that when you're building at the beginning of the semester and you're building out your calendar or your planner, and then it can be adjusted. You might find classes really go into your strengths and you don't need to spend as much time, but you might also end up in a class that just kicks your butt, right? It just takes a lot more time than you anticipated, and you can adjust it throughout the semester. And then each semester start with that 2 to 3 hours per class, per credit hour rule of thumb, because each semester you're going to get fresh classes, different teaching styles from professors, and different things that might take up your time. Of course, your class time and work time go on there. Make sure those due dates are in there, exam dates, any appointments you have. Then add in some of this more social events, exercise activities. You need that. Don't take that away, but add it in after all of these priorities are done. And then your reminders, so that you have them in there. I definitely put in birthdays because I suck at remembering birthdays. I'm terrible. Any anniversaries, holidays, you definitely want holidays. We want to know when, school is out. Whenever you're on break, definitely put that in there so you have something to look forward to. Again, break up your study time. So about 2 hours at a time. All of our brains work a little bit differently, but one thing that they will definitely do is quit. They will quit on you, and you will be reading a text over and over and over and not absorbing anything. And that means your brain is done. Take a break. Some do a 5-minute break and come right back at it. Some need a longer break. Maybe you need to go get something to eat to kind of re-energize you, but make sure that you break up that study time. Scheduling 9 hours of study time, your brain won't make it. It will quit. You will hate life. You will hate that day. You will start to dread that study time, and then you will start avoiding that study time. Figure out your most effective time to study. So if you're not a morning person, getting up at 5 a.m. to study before class may not work for you. You'll find yourself hitting snooze, and just sleeping through it, right? Most effective study time. Is it late morning, early afternoon? Plan it then. Plan it in when you're going to be the most energized and the most focused. Preview the subject matter before class. Definitely you want to get your brain kind of refreshed and energized for class. So give some time to preview before and after class. So as you're lecturing, I know you're doing a lot of live lectures or recorded lectures, but you can still preview the material before and after, so you're not spending some of that lecture time trying to remember what it is you did last week or the last class period. This is my favorite. This is the Covey quadrant model. It's also called the Eisenhower method in the book, but this is basically just how we break up our time. So we have this first one. This is the urgent. This is the crisis. This is the big one. Medical emergencies, pressing problems, deadline dimming projects. This is when everything is coming up. This is the high stress one. This is the one we have to focus on. We can't get away. But we can mitigate some of this. So if we spend our time in this not urgent and this focus one, so this is, as you can see, it's important. It is the stuff, the preparation and planning. This is putting things in your time management. Prevention, getting ahead of projects. So a crisis might be a paper is due tonight at midnight. Prevention would be starting this paper before the day it's due. That's an easy way to keep it from being a crisis and something manageable. Remember what your values are. Definitely get your exercise, whatever your self care looks like. It could be a walk, it could be hardcore exercise, whatever it is that works for you. Make sure you have that support system, and true relaxation is all in this urgent. This is self care, this is planning, knowing what's coming, being prepared, because crisis is going to happen. You can't get away from it. But I know when I was a student with the 1-year-old, if you have kids, they're walking time bombs. They just are. I never knew when she was going to get sick or something was going to happen. So part of my prevention was I always started my papers super early, because if the day or the week that it was due, something was going on with her, I'd rather turn in a crap paper and get a lower grade than not turn in anything because I wasn't working on it and then she got sick and I was out for 3 days or whatever yours might be. That's kind of what we talk about with this preparation, planning, and prevention. Another good example is if you study regularly, then the week that the test comes up, and let's say you have a crisis, because it happens, and you don't get the study time that you thought, you're not so far behind because you've been studying regularly. You didn't need it as much as if you haven't looked at what we did a month ago and it's now going to be on the test and you've got 2 hours before the test, but your car breaks down and you end up messing around with that and you don't have time to open your book. That is the key difference. And I can tell you the quadrant you should spend most of your time is this guy right here. Your focus, your preparation, your planning. Regular study time is working on papers early, getting ahead of things. If you have downtime, what can you be working on that you stay productive? And maybe that's right here. Maybe that's recreation and relaxation. I'm not saying you can't do any of that. But make sure you spend most of your time in here so that when this hits, this deadline isn't killing you. The crisis happens, but you can kind of manage it. And then you have your two guys down here, quadrant of waste and quadrant of deception, and they make me laugh. Quadrant of deception makes me laugh the most because I get called into a lot of meetings, and a lot of meetings are a waste of my time and shouldn't have been called. And you can't always avoid that. Sometimes that's the job. But if you're calling the meetings, doesn't need to be a meeting. How much stuff really happens? A lot of times we procrastinate by, oh, I should clean out my email inbox right now. Do you? Do you need to do that right now? Or is that just an easy way to procrastinate on whatever it is you're avoiding, right? And then this one is my favorite as well because let's be honest, what it doesn't have in here is viewing mindless TV shows. TikTok, Snapchat, social media, any of that. We all know we spend hours on that stuff. And if you don't believe me, look at your phone app. Phones, Netflix, Hulu, all of that stuff takes up a lot of our time, and it can be part of your true recreation and relaxation. I love watching bad TV shows before I go to bed to sort of decompress for the day. But if I did it all day, then it becomes my quadrant of waste. Then I'm not getting things done. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Set limits if you need to, whether on your TV or on your phone, so that you can get this stuff done and then build in time for a little bit of waste. This is the TED Talk that is step 3 for you in Blackboard. Be sure you watch it. It's very entertaining and it talks a lot about procrastination, something that we all suffer from. There's lots of ways to overcome it. Your book's going to go through several strategies. So make sure that you pay attention. I think that the best way to start looking to overcome procrastination is look at why are you procrastinating. Sometimes it's as easy as it's just not fun and I don't want to do it. And sometimes it's a little bit more, it goes back to those values. Like, I really don't want to do it. I know for me, something I procrastinate a lot is vacuuming because I just hate it. I don't have a reason why I hate it, but I hate it. So it's harder for me to get motivated to vacuum, but it's something that I have to do. But it's not a deep seated hatred, so I can get it done. But why are you procrastinating, and why are you not able to get over your procrastination? And then what can you do to help? Having a motivated friend is super, super helpful, important. If you can get a study group together for a class, especially a particularly difficult class, that will definitely help with your procrastination. Just make sure it's a true study group. If y'all meet and don't actually study, that's just friends, that's just hanging out. And that's not necessarily productive. Make sure that you get a group together that's going to help you keep on focus. All right, and that is it really for chapter 4. You do have a time management project coming up, so I will be sending details about that, where you will be recording your time for 7 days, all day, every day, so that you can really kind of see where your time goes. You can go back to that Covey-Eisenhower method and see where you're spending the most of your time. You can look at things that you seem to be procrastinating the most on, and then that's going to be a chance for you to sort of adjust. Every student hates this project, but it's sort of like when the check engine light comes on your car, right? You know something's wrong, and you know that when you take it in, it's going to be something expensive that you have to fix it. But we also know if we ignore it, then it's going to get worse. You're going to get to the point where the car won't run when you could have just fixed it when the light first came on and made a huge difference, right? That's what I call this project. It's just the check to see where your time is going, and if you need to make adjustments now while you're getting used to the college culture and the college environment. All right, thanks, guys.